Hello and welcome back to Forever United TV, everybody. It is Sunday morning. We are running through all of the stories around Manchester United, getting you fully prepared for your Sunday so you can go out and chill and just be in the know of everything that's going on with Manchester United. We have a lot to talk about, including Manchester United's decision to make a decision on some key players and transfers. Are we entering a stage here with what reports are coming out where Manchester United are just going, right, that's it. We need to make the call on this. It might be cut price. It might be not what we wanted in the start, but we have to get things ready. Remember what we said the other day about Ruben wanting things done by a certain time? Interesting stories that sort of collaborate with that today, this morning. Talking about Antony and how close his deal is to Real Betis. Interesting information on that one coming up as well, and what I've dug out from different parts of all of the reports going around. Casemiro update on him. Also, interesting updates regarding the striker hunt for Manchester United and where we're actually at. How are Manchester United making their money? Lots of reports in the papers this morning. Obviously, when the Sunday papers come out, they obviously go in a little bit deeper on certain subjects and go into a bit of depth with what the midweek news has been in a Sunday way. It's weird that the Sunday papers are different and the Sunday reporters and journalists are different. In the world that I've been in anyway, they can tend to have their own sort of separate, not so much of agenda, but they look at things differently. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But yeah, Antony and Casemiro, top of the subjects this morning. I hope you are doing fantastically well. I want to get your live comments in, of course, also as well this morning. So please do pile in with your thoughts on this and where Manchester United are actually at right now. That's where I want to start with their approach to what's going to happen now going forward into July. I've been bigging it up and talking about it quite a lot, to be honest, with the previous shows and everything that's been talked about. And you know where my head is at with where I think United's business is. We are now a month in near enough, and people want decisions made. Update on Mbeumo coming up also as well from Romano, by the way. Forgot to mention that at the start. But people want to see things moving forward now. People want to see action rather than the talking. It's the walking rather than the talking side of the transfer window when we get to July. And the pressure starts to mount. Now, I've said all along, and I've been very clear in my thoughts on certain things with United. Happy with the business in June. Got no issue at all with that. But I'm going to want to start seeing things materialise. I did say that if we entered pre-season training, everybody's back and Mbeumo isn't done, then I'll start to get a little bit concerned with that one. But we are getting close to that. But alongside him, I want things sorted. We need to see players leave. The biggest challenge is getting players out of the door. We all know that everybody wants to come to Manchester United. We all know that players are all too willing. We've seen it this summer alone with players turning other clubs down and players wanting to still come here, even though we haven't got any European football whatsoever. So, and the reports on Antony, first of all, looks like this is the closest we're going to get to for a move for a player leaving Manchester United. Updates on Sancho as well coming up, and we'll talk about that and get your opinions on everything as always on the Sunday morning show. But Antony and where it's at, so digging around. So first of all, from what I've read and what I've looked at, there's a report by the Telegraph, and they've gone into a bit more detail on salary recovery. Now, salary recovery is basically what Manchester United can make by loaning a player out, i.e. how much a club willing to take that player is going to give them towards the wages. We know Manchester United are looking to gain a lot of money from salary recovery from players. This tells you which way we're going here, I think. And reading into what the Telegraph have said on this, and they've gone a bit bigger on it, intermediaries actually are saying that Manchester United are at a disadvantage already with their need to sell and not being able to get players out of the door. Basically broken down, that means that clubs know United are in a tough spot and they're going to rinse us for every single player. And that's exactly what we've seen so far. We know that the players don't want to give up what they've got. We know that clubs are going to take advantage of that and they're going to make a better deal out of Manchester United. So where we're making good deals and bringing players in and making sure that we're structuring them deals right, we're still dealing with the crap. So Manchester United are looking, according to the Telegraph, down the road of salary recovery, which is what other clubs are going to pay towards Man United players' wages when they go on loan. There's the key word. The loan side of things. So Manchester United did this with Antony last season, but this isn't how Manchester United are dealing with the Antony situation. He isn't going to be loaned out. So remember when we did the video about Let's Share? That was the title of the video and on the thumbnail, Antony and Real Betis. Now, Antony has given priority to Real Betis, and Manchester United know where he stands with what he wants. The fact that Antony has dropped his wages is why Manchester United are willing to go a little bit more for Antony and help him move. I think that's where we're at. Other players like we've been talking about that we don't like, that are just taking Manchester United to the cleaners for everything that they can get, they're not really, they're not in the good books, let's just put it that way to keep it simple. Antony obviously has made a real effort to make this move happen. He's lowered his wages, he wants Betis. And I've said this before, Betis are going to have to come up with something. But there is a lot more talk in the Telegraph again about Antony and other sources as well this morning that this deal and talks are now accelerated. I told you the other day about what the CEO at Betis has said in there being creative and getting a deal done. We have done this before. We will do everything we can to get Antony in. So looking into reports, this is what I've come up with, or what I've not come up with, what people are talking about. So remember when we said about the shared option? So taking 50% of the ownership of Antony. It's weird, it's crazy, and you could say it's creative, but from what I've read so far, and these are just reports, that United would get 20 million for Antony. Now, I think that would be a fee. I think we would get that straight away. But the rest of the valuation of Antony and what Manchester United want would then be paid in instalments starting from next summer. So to break it down, 20 million this summer for Antony. We know it's not enough. And obviously you've got the salary recovery to add on to that as well. Obviously Antony's contract runs out in 2 years and United still owe him that contract. So maybe there is something in there that they could work out with Real Betis on that side of it. But 20 million still doesn't get Antony off the books of Manchester United in terms of what we've paid out for him. It would be seen as a PSR loss, which is not good for the Manchester United going forward in the transfers. But what it would do is Antony's wages then off the books and 20 million in the accounts. Yes, you're still paying a bit left. You've still got a bit left to pay for Antony. And you will have to pay another instalment on him because obviously we've made a loss. But then another 20 million comes out the next summer. But that 20 million is then broken into instalments. Now, this is just one way you could do it, and this is one way that's been reported, but this is the gist of this deal and why it's a little bit more wacky and creative. And it just goes to show, can I use the word desperate? It kind of is desperate for Manchester United because we're looking to try and move players on, and we're having to go to these lengths to get them out the bleeding door. So 20 million this summer, 20 million next summer, but we're not going to get that 20 million next summer because it's going to be in instalments. So you might get 20 million spread over 3 years or 2 years or something like that, maybe 2 10 million payments, and then you've got your full valuation of Antony. But until that is fully paid, Manchester United, if Betis did want to sell Antony on, would get a big percentage of that fee as well. It's like owning half of him. If Betis have a great season, they carry on with the instalments next season because they want to keep Antony. But if someone else comes in for Antony, and Betis can make money on him, United would take a massive chunk of that as well next summer. Am I making sense here with it? It sounds complicated as hell, doesn't it? But this is like what I've read through and what people are saying. And talks from Betis are genuinely going down this road for Manchester United to move him on. And like I said at the top of the show, Manchester United are at a point now where Ruben wants things sorted. He wants deals done. And Antony looks like it's the simplest one because he actually does carry value. There is a club that wants him. He's dropped his wages to fit into that football club. So United are going that extra yard to try and be creative and make something happen. They're in a ridiculous situation because of, like we said, and I don't want to keep on banging on about what we've done before. People are going to say, Adam, get off this train. Stop defending Ineos. You're a fanboy and you're just trying to make an excuse for him actually failing Manchester United. No, look. You cannot argue. He's one of the worst transfers we've ever made in the club's history. Over 200 grand a week wages and what was it? 85 million? Something like God. I mean, when you've got that deal to deal with and try and get him out the door, we're 3 years through the payments now, so we've paid off a big chunk. I think United want 40 million for him. That's what's going around at the moment. They said that we need about 33 to clear the debt. United want to make money. And if they're going to take this hit and not get all the money up front, they're going to make sure that they get the maximum value out of Antony. They'll probably add sell-ons and all sorts to this. And this is why it's complicated and why it's going to take time. There is so many different ways that you could look at the deal. But it's a case of United wanting to make a decision and get players out of the bleeding door so they can move forward. Will that money then go towards transfer kitties? Obviously the next question that Man United fans are going to ask. It could do. It could go somewhere. United could be just paying Antony's wages off with it and getting him off the books. And then that comes into salary recovery mode. Because then you're obviously saving, approximately from what Antony's earning. I tell you what, actually, let's bring this up now just to make sure I've got this right. So, I should have put this up on the screen earlier on, actually, but let me just get it up now. Right, so when looking into Antony's salary and what he's on, so say for instance, you got 20 million off Real Betis for Antony. We've still got to pay his installment. The rest of his fee is obviously paid next summer and what we still owe for Antony. But in what he's on, actually, he's actually done the Real Betis contract instead of the Manchester United one. Let's just bring this one up. Bear with me a second, everybody. Sorry for the messing around. Right, so in terms of Antony and what he's actually on, just trying to figure it out here with everything he's buying. So he's on about 200 grand a week in wages. When you calculate that, let's just break this down on what Manchester United will be saving in terms of actual yearly salary for Antony. I mean, what are we on there? 10.4 million. That's what Manchester United saving wages off Antony. Off the books officially anyway. So they could just, I said, pay off everything that they owe on Antony. He's completely off the books then, and that's done. And they might be able to use that 10 million to structure another deal for another player. Honestly, the more you think about it, the more you think of what you can do and what actually can happen here with this deal. It just gets more and more complicated as you think about it. The story is, and what we're talking about here is, the lengths that Manchester United have to go to. I'm no football finance expert. I'm reading what people are actually saying and what Manchester United are doing. I kind of get the gist of it and where it's at, but it is still complicated. To break it down and put it all into one big summary though, man, we're in a mess and we're having to go above and beyond just to get players out of the door. That's the story, really, more than anything else. It's how Manchester United are having to go about their business to try and get deals done. This is the issue that we've got right now. And look, I'm not defending the club. I'm not trying to bail them out here. Like I just said, I'm not looking for a way out just to try and defend Ineos because quite a lot of people think that I am right behind them. I see what they've done and I like what they've done with the football side of things. That's all I've said from the get-go. And this is just a situation that's come about through poor management before, and they're having to think outside the box. This is outside the box and then across the channel, to be honest, and into a different realm. I've never seen a transfer constructed like this before in my life, but that's what United have to do to try and get back on a level playing field. There is a video coming up in a moment after this, which you'll be redirected to, where I've been talking about Liverpool on Football Talks, by the way. So don't forget, after this show, we've got another one coming as well. Back-to-back shows for you today. So that's coming straight after this one. But I used the example, Harvey Elliott at the Euros right now. Star player, 5 goals. Well done, England, last night in winning back-to-back Euros again. First time since '84. And Harvey Elliott, James McAtee, players that cannot get in their first teams, that clubs are willing to spend a fortune on. And Manchester United have got 4 players here that we have spent a fortune on or paying a fortune that nobody wants to buy. So I went Rashford, Antony, Sancho, Garnacho. Nobody wants them. You've got James McAtee, who hardly features, and Harvey Elliott, who can't get in the side because Mo Salah's in front of him, that people are willing to pay 40 million more for. But nobody wants first-team players from Manchester United. And none of this that I'm talking about right now was created by the current structure at Manchester United. That's the only point I'm trying to make in this. I'm not defending anything that has happened at this football club. It's a freaking disgrace. It really is. But this deal, I think, highlights where we are at as a football club right now more than any. And like I said before, credit to Antony. Honestly, I want him out of the door. I want him gone because I want to move forward. I want to see more players coming in. But my God, it's decision time for Manchester United, and it just looks like we're having to really scrape the barrel in terms of getting a deal done. And if it does work out this way, and this is where it is, it's done, thank you, we can move forward. We have to monetize what we can out of the mess. And if this is the way that we're getting rid of Antony, this is the way we're getting rid of Antony. Nothing is straightforward in Manchester United. We got a good deal off Betis in terms of the loan. It's saved us a lot of money, which helped us go out and buy the likes of Matthias Cunha and Mbeumo because we're structured in payments. and we can do it in installments. So what we saved off Antony and what we saved off Rashford's wages the back end of last season really helped this financial year in getting us through the Matthias Cunha deal. So this salary recovery that's is going on right now with Manchester United, and this is why I said it, so we're going to move on to the next one in a moment, but when you look at that, I think this is definitely telling you how the rest of this window is going to go. And it's not what you want to hear. I know it's not, because there's no definites, but this could actually be the one big sale for Man United. Now, Garnacho is another story. Again, no news at all on Garnacho, which is the biggest concern out of everything right now. And I'm waiting for the day when we find out about that, because obviously, like I said yesterday, Gitten's going now to Chelsea. That's Garnacho not going to Arsenal, not going to Chelsea. Newcastle, I don't know. They want Rashford more, and they'll wait for Rashford. There's no hope for Garnacho staying in the Premier League at the moment. So that's a big concern of mine. But Antony rounding that up there, I think, again, just shows you the lengths that United are going to have to go to. Let's get into the comment section on this. And I can't wait to read the comments on this one. Honestly, I'm reading it and I'm confusing myself while I'm reading it. I'm reading it out to you and I'm confusing myself while reading it out. But to break it down, a mess. That's where we're at. Can't fault Antony at all. It's not worked out with us, but he's gone out, worked hard and not slated the club and remained professional. Exactly what I was saying, Silverback. Betis will save millions on pitch care. They get Antony to roll around every time he's touched. This needs to be added to his value. Just a thought, says ATKO. Look, he can roll around all he wants, and yeah, he can maybe save the club some pitch repair fees. That's a joke, obviously, but he bangs the ball in the back of the net, and that, in the end of the day, is what they've got him for. He took them up that table to the point where they were almost qualifying for the Champions League. I actually feel if they did manage to get that done and get in the Champions League, this deal would have been all but done already, because it would have just opened up the bank accounts even more for Betis to make it happen. World Cup summer next, so no purchases till August. Got to push to do our sales now. 300k per week released. Look, get deals done, I think, is United's stance. Save on the wages. These players are all on a fortune for Manchester United, apart from Garnacho, which is why he's the most important, because he brings in a lot of pure profit money. Now, obviously, we're moving on to other players in a minute. So let me just get a couple more comments in. Ian says, it's certainly not a conventional transfer, but if it's going to kickstart getting players out, let's just get it done and continue with the rebuild. Interesting what Ian said there. Thanks for that, Ian. To get kickstart things moving and get going. A lot of fans last night when we were talking about Sancho and over the last few days, for instance, as an example, were saying, let's just let him rot in the reserves and we don't take anything. I think United fans would be open to United getting players out the door and just breaking even right now. That's where we're at with it. Look, nobody's expecting absolute fortunes for any of these players that we've got. They've been a nightmare. They have absolutely taken us for a ride. They're mercenaries, and we made big mistakes in the transfers. If we could just break even and get away from it and start afresh and properly start looking like we are doing at the younger players, bringing our own players through, looking at what we've got and what Ruben needs, and spending whatever penny we've got on players that we can really use this season. And without being a European season, maybe this is the start of what Manchester United really need. This is the reset that everybody's talked about for the last 10 years. We just need to flush it out, get them gone. I understand we need to make money, but at this point right now, it's about the football. You break even, you just walk away. Your nightmare's over. You're not paying stupid money, and that salary recovery comes into it. That salary recovery is absolutely huge. Say, for instance, when we're moving on to Marcus Rashford now, when you look at this, Marcus Rashford and what's actually happening with him. So, Rashford and his wages and what he's on right now for Manchester United. Say, for instance, he's just shy of 17 million a year, Marcus Rashford, on his full wages. So Barcelona came in and said, we want to pay 200 grand's worth of Marcus Rashford's wages. United want more than that. Let's just use it as an example. That automatically saves Manchester United over 10 million a year in wages. 10 million can be a structured deal for a player, like we've said before, João Palhinha in midfield. 30 million spread out over the course of, 4 or 5 years with a decent contract, you could round that up into 10 million. You could literally buy João Paulinho for Marcus Rashford going on loan, because United will get a loan fee as well from Barcelona. And that's if Barcelona pay the minimal wages of Marcus Rashford. You see where I'm going? Salary recovery is what Manchester United are doing. So, to save Ruben Amorim the headache, to take this pressure away from these players coming back to Manchester United, make the decision. Can you see what's going to happen in the future? No, you can't. You can't see what's going to happen towards the back end of this transfer window, except what Marcus Rashford wants, because what other option have you got? Let him go on loan, and let's see if he's worth what he's worth. If he has a good season at Barcelona to try and get into the World Cup, all of a sudden, Man United is saving that money from Marcus Rashford, which brings us another player in who we're going to use, and he adds more value to his price next summer when we're looking for a real quality midfielder then. That's the thing, the creative side of Man United's transfer window, which we're talking about right now. That's where it's important. And you're going to need to do that, because the next story that I'm going to talk about is Casemiro staying at Manchester United. And this is the report that's come out from the Mirror this morning as well, that Manchester United have now made the decision, again, to go back to the top of the show, Manchester United now making key decisions on players. Now, we talked about Casemiro leaving and him being close to the Saudi Pro League. Don't get me wrong. If Manchester United get a realistic offer in for Casemiro, then he comes in. I think United are looking at everything. The June month, let's get what we can get done, and then look around for everything else. Assess the whole window. And then July, as soon as that hits, decision. Cas stays, not bringing another midfielder. We can't find the midfielder that we actually want, so he's got to stay for this year. Next season, we will be saving an absolute fortune a season. We are going to be saving off Casemiro near 30 million quid a season just on him alone, in what he cost us and what his wages are. When I break down Casemiro, he's practically on, again, like around about, 16 million in wages a year. We're paying in installments for him for his contract? Maybe 15 million, I think, a season for the contract of Casemiro. 4-year deal, 15 million a year, 60 million what we paid for him. So you could say that Manchester United are paying about 35 million a year just to have Casemiro in their side. Next season, that's gone for definite. Yeah, you could maybe squeeze 10 and 15 million out of a club and get his last payment covered, him off the books, draw even this summer. But no one's coming with a realistic offer yet. Will United take that cut price offer if it comes on to the table? I think they're happy with Casemiro to stay, by the way. I don't think they've got a problem with that. The bigger issues are the ones that we've just spoken about on them other players. But Casemiro being talked about as staying right now, that I think could change at any point in this window. I think this is going to be significant because Manchester United really need a midfielder. But maybe they've gone out and thought, we cannot find the midfielder we want. We're not just going to add somebody to the squad that isn't really going to get ahead of Casemiro when you've already got a player there who knows what Ruben wants and Ruben likes. I think this is where we're actually at right now. With Ruben coming back, and I said this the other day, with Ruben coming back and obviously him wanting to make decisions, he's going to say, right, what's done? What can we get done? Right, this isn't happening. Right, let's just keep Casemiro. I want my squad ready and everybody raring to go for the start of pre-season as best as it can be. Get what you can out of the door. Get these players gone that we can get gone, and let's look at what we can get moving forward from this point. Casemiro has to be one of their midfielders. Casemiro has to be one of their midfielders. He stays in the squad for Ruben Amorim. It's all about the football side of things, remember. That's what we're talking about here, and this is what is needed at Manchester United now. Clear the decks, get the players out that we can get out. Let's give Ruben Amorim what he needs, or as close to it as we can. Whether or not them players come back into the squad, and the ones we're talking about, obviously, the three amigos in Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford. I don't know. I don't know where we're at with this. That's a difficult one for Manchester United to actually handle, I think. And it's going to be... would you keep the... You tell me in the chat. Would you bring them players back into the squad? Because you need to sell them. You need to move them on. Or are we at a point now where Manchester United actually know what's happening already, and Manchester United are just accepting that these players are going to do what they want to do? Like, clubs are interested, we might have to loan them. Because when I talk about the salary recovery side of things here, I'm talking about the likes of accepting that Jadon Sancho is going to go on loan. Marcus Rashford's going to go on loan. Possibly even Alejandro Garnacho going on loan. This is what Man United might have to do, I'm afraid. It's get loan fees for all of these players, get all of the wages, or majority of the wages covered as best as you can, round that up into one. How much have we made in that? And then use that money to go out and buy what you need to buy. That's what salary recovery is. You add, let's say for instance, let's just add up the wages of Garnacho, who's on 50 grand a week right now. Rashford's wages, which is what, 325 as stated. Sancho's, actually, one second. Yeah, Sancho's wages, that there. What's happened there? Sorry, everyone. Let's do this again. All right. Trying to use a calculator first thing on a Sunday morning. Right, let's just add them 3 wages up. Actually, let's just put Antony in there as well, so we've got it. Right, so what we're talking there in terms of wages, still not bleeding work. Sorry, everyone. Oh, God. Right, let's do this one more time and see if I can get it right. Okay. This is Adam at his finest. You can tell I did well in school of bleeding maths, can't you? My God. Right, so almost there. Sorry. It's Sunday morning, you got to let me off a little bit. Sunday morning, right. And then one more to add to that. Okay, we now have that final one. Right, so in terms of wages a week, Manchester United would approximately be around about £825,000 a week in wages for them players, them 4 players that we're talking about there. And obviously, you times that by the yearly one and what Manchester United would be paying out, that's 42.9 million. Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous when you break it down like that. So we're looking at, let's just round that, 43 million in wages for them 4 players. If you start taking chunks of that off, Manchester United then would start to see a way of structuring a couple of deals this summer. We've got our biggest 2 players in. I personally, apart from Victor Gyökeres, I'm going to move on to that story and where we're at with that in a minute as well. Apart from Victor Gyökeres, don't see United spending anything bigger than 50 million at all. Now, you can structure them deals in with what we've got available money there. Easily, you can make something out of them deals. And I think that's where United are at right now. Salary recovery does save Manchester United an awful lot of money. That's the big story from the Telegraph today and what United are pushing on. If you can get Antony out the door and his wages gone, you're saving a lot of money. If you can loan Marcus Rashford out, like I just said then, United will save around about 10 million, 10.5 million this season alone in Marcus Rashford's wages. If Barcelona only paid 200 grand's worth of his wages, that is where United want his whole wages covered. So you could get more. And the loan fee on top of that. You can start to add that up. You're going to have to do the same with Jadon Sancho, I think. United are very close, apparently, according to Italian sources. I think United, again, in this position we're in now, where we're close to making a decision on certain players and where we're at with any potential of any permanent deals going down the Swanee because of the salaries of the players that we're talking about, like Sancho. Juventus can't afford his wages. They'll pay Man United the fee and it's all great, but they can't afford his wages. United are going to have to take a loan fee off Juventus and then do a deal on his wages again, like we did with Chelsea. Whether you can't even add a obligation to that. And Mike McGrath of the Telegraph has actually said, look, Manchester United now as well would be open to actually extending Jadon Sancho's contract. I hate that line. Extending Jadon Sancho's contract. It's not extending it. It's triggering Jadon Sancho's contract extension so they don't lose out on him. How desperate do we have to be to actually have to extend a player's contract that hasn't featured for us for 2 seasons because we try and scrape a few pennies out at the end of it? I would rather loan him out and take what you can now than give that man another year on that salary because you don't want to lose a transfer fee. I understand the instalment payments are finished this season and next season you don't have to pay any instalment for Jadon Sancho. You might be able to make a bit of money. But I think there's a case here that United need to read the room with the fan base as well and everything that's going on. It just looks like you are penny pinching to try and salvage some form of transfer fee to keep face with Jadon Sancho. That's what it looks like to me, and that's not going to fly with a lot of this fan base. It won't. And I think they do need to be open here and read the room with the fan base and what's actually going on at United. Don't be stupid enough to give Jadon Sancho that year extension so he can make a little bit of money at the end of it. It would be an absolute travesty. It would be a joke if that happened. But I am happy right now to get all of them players out, get the wages covered on a loan deal, get some loan fees, and do what you can this summer. Get the right player in that you can with them deals. Maybe them players go on and play better elsewhere, and you can get more money next summer. I think that's United's position right now. And if you can't sell them, loan them, take the money, and let's make something happen. Get them out of the way for Ruben Amorim. Let's see what we can gather together financially and go out and get somebody else. That you can save a lot of money. And I've said this before, loans are just as important as sales this summer for Manchester United. Not just for Ruben Amorim, but also for the money that we can make off it and save. Because we pay stupid money for wages. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Would you keep Casemiro, by the way? Happy to keep him? Happy to sell him? I said before, we did a show when it looked like he was going to the Saudi Pro League, where 15 million, would you accept that for Casemiro right now? And a lot of you just said, yeah, get him off the books, bring somebody else in. What we're making off Casemiro, if he's sold, isn't his transfer fee. That's just covering his last instalment payment for the last year of his contract. That's your 15 million. Get that gone, his wages gone. That's a lot of money for Manchester United then to not be on the books. That saves us a hell of a lot of time, and I think gives us so much room with PSR to go out and get another player in. That would be one that I would be open to. But at the moment, like the Mirror said this morning, it looks like Casemiro is going to be staying at Manchester United. So let's see. Casemiro and is that Garner? Garner never wanted to win anything in Manchester United. It came to retire. Cavani, I think you're supposed to say there. We were a retirement club. I don't know. We will see in terms of... I don't think Casemiro's done a bad job. I'll see what the rest of the... Do you think... That's an interesting question. I don't agree with it, but I'm going to open that up to the rest of the chat. Let's see. Do you think that they've just come for a final paycheck? Or do you really think that they had the intention of actually getting something? Because don't forget, Casemiro's won 2 trophies. And he came very close for helping us win another trophy last season. That would have been 3 trophies in 3 years for Casemiro, by the way. So maybe it is worth looking at that as well, because he did come close to that. I know it didn't happen, and I can't say that that's good, but still. So people just happy with incomings and us being castrated by these dead players. What is this? We have got a specialist in charge of transfers or not? I'm sorry, it's just the easy way, not the clever at all. Yeah, again, circumstances, Shane. Circumstances. If a club does not want to pay the player's wages, he will stay. The problem you've got isn't the now. The problem you've got is what was before. No other club has got players like Sancho, Rashford and Antony. No other club has got 3 players that don't do anything for a football club, costing them an absolute fortune. Costing them over £700,000 a week in wages alone. Them 3 players. Name me one other club that's got this situation right now. And that's been brought on from what was there before and the way that Man United were managed. That's where we're at. No doubt Casemiro was a world-class player, but it's time to move on. And Dasweet says, when their United contracts are up, if a club gives them more than 50k a week, they're mad. Someone will. That's the crazy thing. I think our club needs to be relegated from the EPL for them to be serious and make a quick signings, and for them to wake up from the deep sleep, because we can't with hopes that has no fruits at all. It kind of didn't make sense towards the back end of that one there. Let's get a few more comments in. UK Strange says, Man United is at the final payday for anyone over 30 or the Saudi Pro League now. Now, I would say Casemiro did come to United for not for retirement. Sure, the last playouts, but I do say he came to win here. The shifts he did for the Carabao and Europa and FA, doubt he just came for cash. Makash says, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Casemiro won't help this season at all, but highlights our weaknesses. Not for it at all then, Markash. Get it. Daniel says there's these want-away players want to be in the squad to be visible for the World Cup. United has to be tough. Pragmatic solutions can be found. They don't want to be in United's bench or worse. But this is it. Like, at the end of the day, do United take this to the line and call out all of these players to a point where it's like, okay, you're just going to sit here at the club. If you don't want to take a pay cut, your chances of playing in the World Cup are over. The problem we've got with that is, you could say that with Garnacho, definitely, because Ruben will happily let that man sit on the sidelines and rot. So if he wants to play in the World Cup for Argentina, he needs to make a move happen. Rashford's the same. Antony is already making his move, like we've said. Sancho doesn't give a shit. He really doesn't care. He has got no chance. Even if he plays regular football, I don't think he's going to be in the World Cup with Thomas Tuchel. But again, that is just mounting, and that's clear where Man United's problem is. You can say that these players do want to play in the World Cup, and it may come to a point where that with a couple of them, but the likes of Jadon Sancho, just take the hit and get him gone. Like, stop messing around. Super chat in from Aaron says, people wish we had Roy Keane and need to realise Casemiro is the closest thing we can have to Roy's drive, mentality and professionalism. He does have the professionalism side of things there as well, I think, better than a lot. And I think Ruben's picked up on that recently towards the back end of last season. I think that's a big thing for Ruben as well. He wants players around him that can be that professional side of things. Because, let's be honest, talking about the players that we have just done there, like the likes of Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford, give me a Casemiro all day long at the age 30. I know he's older now, but still, I would take Casemiro the age he is ahead of all of them players right now, just for him actually being a professional footballer. Sad to say that, it really is, but that's what it's come to at United now. Glenn with a super chat. If Liverpool can get 10 mil in June for Trent, what about a deal that if the loan club agrees a deal with Sancho on a free, we get a commission fee? Yeah, look, creative, Glenn. United are going to have to be at their best in terms of the recruitment side of things and where they're at in getting deals done here. But like Antony, like we've just described out at the top of the show, things can happen. You can get deals done. By the way, everybody, thank you so much. Let's get them likes up. We've already got close to 400. I think we should be at least over 500 now with the amount of people we've got in the room with us. So if you haven't already and you're loving the content, please do give me a like on the video. It helps the channel no end. And of course, as well, if you do hit that subscribe button, it's taking us closer to that target which we want, which is 90k before the start of the season. If you're loving the content, it helps the channel like you would not imagine. Thank you so much, everybody who already has done. But if you haven't, please do show your support for the channel and the content by hitting that subscribe button, everybody. Super chat from Stephen says, Adam, accordingly to Manchester United's amortisation policy, triggering an extension allows costs to be spread over more time, helping PSR. I know, mate. It's kind of what I was getting at. I do get the financial side of it, but should they not now be looking at this from Ruben's side of things, from the fan side? It's like, stop the messing. Show us that you mean business and you're willing to take a hit like the fans are having to take a hit. I think that's what we're looking for. Little things go a long way. And for Manchester United to turn away the opportunity, can you imagine the uproar? I'm not saying it's going to be certain people who are running their mouths and going on about this. I would completely understand anybody who went off their head if United triggered the extension to Jadon Sancho. I broke down the pros and cons, and Stephen's just brought up another con there in terms of financially why United might do it, but the point I'm trying to make here is it's like we need something back. It's like you ballsed up, the club ballsed up. Not the people that are there now, granted, like I've just said, but you effed this up. You take the hit. Stop charging the fans for the mistakes that you have made. That's what I want to see with Jadon Sancho. Loan him, take the loan fee, wave goodbye. Get him out of the football club. That's my stance. Look, I understand the financials to extending that contract and things like that, but I'm not even bothered about making the fee anymore. I don't care. I want him off the books and we can save money that way. I want United to make a stand against these players is where I'm at. You're not going to get that. Imagine Jadon Sancho and his agent, Manchester United, trigger a 1-year extension so they can scrape some form of a transfer fee in the last year of his deal. This will be Jadon Sancho for half of his contract, who hasn't played for the football club, getting a contract extension. Can you imagine the look that is from everybody looking in on Manchester United? Can you imagine what we look like as a football club? It will be an embarrassment. We cannot do that. Draw the line. End the nightmare now and make a big decision and put the football first. That's what I think. I get everything else that everybody's saying, and it's a fair point from Stephen there, but just listen to what I've just said there. When you look at this deal, if United triggered that extension for Jadon Sancho, you're about to pay a man that, I don't know, we could sell him next summer, and that makes sense, but this is a guy that hasn't played for Manchester United for 2 years now, and he's earned a fortune out of us. And then you're telling the fans that you're going to extend that contract just so you can gain a fee next season for him. It just doesn't look good, does it? It's just a look about things, that's all it is. But thank you again for the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate it. Threatening an extension and saying he should be practical or will be here next year is a decent tactic to force Sancho into stop dicking around. Nobody wants to be doing this again next summer. No, we just need a line drawing under it. Please, Sancho, every single Manchester United fan is begging you right now, just take a little bit of a hit on your wages, mate. How much money do you actually need? You're going to get another contract somewhere else next season. Just stop being a greedy bastard and take a different deal. Get out of the club and go and play football, mate. Go and show us that you need to be earning that contract. You should take this last year now to go out there and just smash it somewhere. Actually, no. Go and move now. Take this deal, whatever it is, and prove that you should be on more money. Actually, do you know what? Repay what the rest of your career has been forking out for you, is what I say anyway. Right, more stories. Need to move on. Obviously, we're running out of time. But Bryan Mbeumo's structure. Romano on the update on Bryan Mbeumo, by the way, in that the bid isn't rejected like we said yesterday. The structure of the deal is what is being discussed right now. It's like we haven't accepted it. So people are saying, well, if you've not accepted it, you rejected it. No. They're basically trying to structure the offer. So the offer is on the table and the amount is right. But it's the structure of it that counts. And that's where we're actually at right now. So that, for me, I think it just says, again, where United are confident that this deal will get done. And obviously, Bryan Mbeumo has made it very clear. Apparently as well, another story that was reported last night was that Bryan Mbeumo actually turned down 2 offers of higher wages than what Manchester United are offering or paying him now to stay in negotiations with United. He wants to go to United. This is a player we have to get done, and United will get done. People who are online now saying that Manchester United just need to walk away from this. No, we don't walk away from a player like Bryan Mbeumo. This is a man that has proved year in, year out and got better and better that he belongs at the highest level in the Premier League, that wants to come to Manchester United. That is exactly the type of player that we should be signing. If I told you that this man is coming into Manchester United for less a week than what Antony's being paid, that should tell you exactly the character and where this club is actually going. These are the positives that I go on about. So when I'm talking about negatives, like I just did with Jadon Sancho, look at this. Look at Cunha and look at Mbeumo and go, this is what the club used to be like. Players ignoring multiple offers just to come to Manchester United. Ruben knows what type of player we need. The word characteristic comes out of his mouth so many times within a season. This is what you're getting right here, right now. Bryan Mbeumo will be a Man United player. Everyone just needs to calm down and settle down with this. He will be a Manchester United player. And that's what we've got to look forward to. He is turning down everybody else. He is making Brentford do this deal with Manchester United. The bid isn't rejected. The bid is in place and it's being discussed. Manchester United's price is still the same. It's the structuring of the actual fees and everything else that's being discussed. Yeah, maybe Brentford will scrape some add-ons, but the actual price that we're paying right now is what's being discussed with the structure of it. Add-ons will come in. Manchester United, I don't think are going to be too bothered in paying a few extra mil add-ons later down the line. I don't think so. And that, I think, is where United right now are just like these minor little details that we're talking about, or what we're talking about were the problem before with players. We ignored them and we just went, right, okay, we'll pay you what you want. Like United could have got Lisandro Martinez 20 mil cheaper. We could have got Antony for 50 mil cheaper if we listen to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is what we were doing before. Like Manchester United know the value of Mbeumo and Cunha, and it's a premium price because they are proven at the right age, and they are players that will take Manchester United forward this season. I'm so excited about seeing them two play in a Man United shirt. I cannot wait for the season to start just to see what they do and how they change the dynamic of Manchester United's front line. In fact, we are literally, around about 3 weeks away now from playing Leeds United in our first friendly in Sweden. Cannot wait for that game. That's what we've got to look forward to. Cannot wait, and it's not a million miles away. It isn't. So, it's going to be, I think, a interesting pre-season, interesting summer. It really is, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Victor Gyökeres, the next news that we need to talk about. I'm going to come into the comments again. Don't worry. The situation, as we said yesterday, has moved forward with Benjamin Sesko. I'll be talking about that on Football Talks after this video. You will be redirected across to that as well, so stay tuned for that one, everybody. Sesko to Arsenal, moving forward at an accelerated pace now. Personal terms agreed, like we said last night, and obviously a fee now lowered by Leipzig for them to take Benjamin Sesko. Chelsea have now contacted Brighton over João Pedro. So João Pedro is now Chelsea's top target. That takes Chelsea and Arsenal out of the reckoning for Victor Gyökeres. There isn't many other clubs left. I said this last night, but Chelsea now, last night, literally committing to João Pedro, and this one moving fast according to the reports, has now left Manchester United in the perfect position to actually get a deal done for Victor Gyökeres if we want to just wait out this window. Look, he has got to sort out his mess with Sporting yet. I said it last night, I broke it down again. Just Chelsea's news last night is what we're adding to this one this morning, because it is actually important that nobody else is in for Victor Gyökeres, because the only way he would come to United is if there was no Champions League club at the table bidding for him, and there isn't at the moment. And that's the good thing. It could then just drag on a little bit more. But like I said last night, with United trying to sort their finances out and make room, it gives us a chance to actually get this done. And then, obviously, we can go for a bid later in the window. I'm not worried about Victor Gyökeres, his fitness, his pre-season or anything like that. He knows Ruben's system. He knows what he's going to want from him. So he can slot in at any point in this window. So with Victor Gyökeres, I think this is actually quite important that Manchester United now have got that pathway into making this transfer actually happen. It's really interesting to see exactly what Manchester United do with the striker side of things, because all of these signings that we're talking about, all of the players that we needed, and apparently, like last night we were saying, we want another 4 after Bryan Mbeumo. So one is going to be the striker, the goalkeeper obviously, and then the midfielder, and then the right wing-back possibly as well for Manchester United. I don't see all of them coming in. I see 2 more, personally, after Bryan Mbeumo. That's what I think Manchester United sales will bring United. Let's see. Prove me wrong. I would gladly take another 3 players after Bryan Mbeumo. I'd be ecstatic if we managed to get 4 after Bryan Mbeumo. Are United really going to just go for it? I think they want to just get some of these other players moving along first before anything else. It is. Actually, no one was talking then a minute ago about the subscribers. I didn't even notice that we're only 48 subscribers away from 88,000, everybody. So if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button again. And we have just smashed over 500 live likes. Epic, everyone. Super chat in from Roz. That turd cares way more about the money than football. He would be overjoyed at another season on United's wages. That being Sancho, Roz. I agree with you, mate. I would probably describe him the same way as well. A turd. Honestly, I cannot wait for the day when Manchester United are rid of these headaches and rid of these nightmare players at this football club. Honestly, it is. I cannot. Honestly, and it's coming. It is coming. It's coming to an end. And for anyone asking the question regarding Manchester United, okay, yeah, we can maybe loan players out, but they've got to still be dealt with next season again. So if you go and spend money right now on this money that you're saving with these loan players and the wages that you've salvaged or got money back from, If you go and buy a player now, then what about next season when the players come back? Well, no, I made the point of saying you'll have Harry Maguire and Casemiro are both gone definitely by the end of next season because their contracts have ended. So that kind of covers the players coming back. But what you're really hoping is then players do go away on loan and actually have a good season and then become more valuable and are sold on again. What United need to do right now is, like, what positions do we need? We need a striker and we need a goalkeeper. We need a number 8, of course. I would be looking for a loan for a midfielder. I would be looking to buy a goalkeeper and buy a striker. They're your priorities, I think. Can we, with loaning all of these headaches out and getting the deals that we can done out of the way and done, get a goalkeeper and a striker with the money we've got, and then maybe loaning a midfielder? That's my plan. That's what I would do anyway. And yeah, we are looking here now like we are about to make some big decisions, and that was the whole point of this. That was the whole point of this show, like where Manchester United are actually at, and where we're now. I feel in a position to actually call some players out, like Antony. Let's get him gone at the best deal that we can. Right, we can't find the exact midfielder that we need. Casemiro, he stays. Brian Mbeumo comes in. Like, we haven't got a bad team. Put all of your efforts into moving on Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford and try and get your striker. At least then we know we've at least got what we need up front. And I would say, well, not ideally in midfield, but still, Casemiro's there, Bruno's there, Ugarte's there. Obviously, you've got Kobbie Mainoo and what we're talking about with him. So what we're looking at here is Manchester United making some cutthroat decisions and making sure that they're ready. So, yeah, that is pretty much our show for today, everybody. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Great comments as always. You will be directed to Football Talks. That is happening in just a moment's time. So just jump across there. I'll bring you all the up-to-date information, what we're speaking about then with Sesko, with João Pedro and things like that. A show coming up there as well. Thank you, everybody, again. Donations, brilliant. I love that. Mods, fantastic job in the chat. Let's hope we get some more news by the end of the day so we can be talking later this evening about something more positive again. But please give the video a like on the way out, everybody. Make sure that you have subscribed to Forever United TV. Help us get to that 88k. We're hoping to get there today. We are literally, 40, are we away there now? 43 away from that 88,000. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you.